I'm also happy that you asked me to share some of my experiences and ideas with you, especially concerning life after school. Um, Please, if you can mute yourself, that would be appreciated. All right. So I'll be speaking on the topic adult graduate, whether it's a scam or a sky. Okay, so that's what I'll be speaking on, and I think my plan is to talk for about 30 minutes, and we can go into Q&A week. You can ask questions, and probably based on the questions, we'll be able to learn better. Okay, so you might have heard some people say that that education is a scam. You might have heard some people say that adulthood is a scam. I think many of us have heard that music, that adulthood is a scam. I don't know what you think about it anyway. And some would tell you that education is a scam, that school is a scam. Some have even gone ahead to tell you that Nigeria is a scam, that church is a scam, that politics is a scam, that almost everything is a scam. And we want to look at this. Is it actually a scam? Does being adult being a scam? Does being graduate being a scam? Actually, it depends on how we view it. And that's what we are going to look into with the purpose of understanding how we need to react, and what we need to do. I'm trying to see how to move forward. This is actually not moving. How do I move this forward, please? The slide is not moving. Yes. This is becoming quite difficult. I can't actually share this. Sorry, I need help, please. How do I share my screen? Because I noticed that it's not moving. Hello, can someone tell me how do I move this screen? Because I want to move to the next slide, but it's not moving.
But are you making use of your phone or your laptop?
Yeah, it's laptop I'm using.
Okay, you are already an admin. Then just go to the group settings, settings, click on it. Then you see an options where your camera, you can actually on your camera, unmute yourself. You see a 3 dots, then a red button. The first one that has an arrow there is what you should click on. That is what the option there is share screen.
Yeah, I've seen that one. But the problem is that I cannot move the slide. I can see the screen, but the slides do not move.
when you click on the share screen, it will take you to the different parts of your screen you want to share. Then you click on any one of it. You click on the particular software UPS part of the one you use.
Yeah, for example, now I'm sharing this one, but I want to move to the next screen. I want to move to the next slide, sorry, to the next slide, but it cannot move to the next slide.
Okay, just click on the number.
I've done that, but still it doesn't move. I've done that, but still it doesn't go to number 2. It doesn't go to number 2.
Click on number 2.
I've done that, but it doesn't go. Okay, let me see if it has. Okay, all right. All right, I think it's better now. So I can easily move it. So back to our discussion. Sorry for the interruption. Many people tell you that school is a scam, life is scam, adulthood is scam, and some of us are worried. We have so much expectations. What do we do after school? Are we going to make it? Are we not going to make it? Honestly, whatever you are looking for is what you would see. If you're looking for evidence that school is a scam, you will see evidence. If you're also looking for evidence that school is a sky, you will also find evidence. There are people you could look at and you ask yourself, what is the benefit of going to school? And there are people you also see and you will find strong evidence that going to school is. In other words, whether it is a scam or a sky depends on what you make out of it. It depends on what you make out of it. For example, I think last year, one of my students, before I left Nigeria, she finished her youth service this January. And as we are speaking now, she got a scholarship, not only for master's, but for PhD in US. And this scholarship provides not only for tuition fee, but to be paying her for the next 4 or 5 years, she will do her PhD. This is someone that have not even done her master's. This is someone that have not even finished her youth service. But she was able to scale through like this. And at the same time, you have people who have finished school for the past 6 years and still they couldn't find something tangible doing. In other words, whether being an adult graduate is a scam or a sky depends on what you make out of it. It is what you make out of it. So if we actually make it a sky, it means we need to sky up. But if we're not willing to pay the price, if we are not willing to pay the price, it means we may see ourselves moving down. Because skying up requires paying the price. You need to pay the price to be able to sky up. But moving down doesn't require any effort. Moving down doesn't require any effort. You can move down, the wind can help you. But if you actually want to sky up, if you actually want to go up, there's a price to be paid. If you look at the picture in this slide, you will see that there are 4 men here. Both of them are moving. Both of them want to achieve target. Both of them had expectations. But the journey is not easy. And I need to be honest with you. Life after graduation is not easy. Based on research, what you do within 3 years of your graduation has strong impact on what your life will be. 3 years after your graduation, a lot of things could happen. Some people could break down. Some people could get depressed because some people may not be lucky to find a job. And this is time when you hear news of your mate. This one is in Lagos working. This one already got a bank job. This one is in CBN. This one has traveled out of the country. This one is married with 2 children, and you are still at home. And within you, you know that your parents are no longer happy with you. It seems as if you're a failure. And this is time where it is not just about your certificate or what you graduated with. So this is a trying time for all of you. And I would like you to brace up because it's not going to be funny. Sometimes you see that your expectations may not actually work out. Some people after school believe that at most 6 months I'll find something doing. But don't be surprised. After 2 years, some people may not be able to find anything. People that have promised you so much help may not be there for you. So if you look at this picture, you see 4 men trying to go forward. They are struggling. They have finished school and they are pushing forward in life. However, look at this man here, this second person here. This second person here knew that it's not going to be easy. And he wanted to be different. He knew that to sky up, you need to do something different. And that was why he took time to sharpen what he is doing. He took time to build his skills. He took time to work on his creativity. He took time to prepare himself, such that when the journey started, others were busy complaining, but he has sharpened himself. He has sharpened the saw, such that it was no longer too difficult for him. He is moving. And that is why I mean that it is what you make out of it that will determine if being an adult graduate will be a scam for you or whether it's going to be a sky for you. And I need to be honest with you. Do not be a weak person. A weak person, a lazy person is a burden unto himself and unto others. It's not good to be weak. Because if you're a weak person, probably in the short term, people will support you, people will help you, but a time will come when you realize that you're actually a burden unto yourself and unto others. And that is why it's not good to be a weak person. By weak, I do not mean someone who is sick, but someone who is not willing to pay the price. Someone who prefers to wake up at 7:38 in the morning. Someone who doesn't like stress. Someone who is looking for shortcuts. Someone who is not willing to pay the price. That is a weak person. Someone who doesn't have strong value. Someone who is looking for an easy way out. I would like this picture here to teach you a lot about how to handle this life after school. That even if it's going to take you 6 months or 1 year or 2 years to sharpen this saw, it will prepare you to move ahead. And that is what will make it easier for you and set you apart from other people. So in my discussion this afternoon, I want to share with you areas of improvement. Before we now go into advice I'm going to give you, there are different tips of improvement that I'm going to share with you. So if you look at this slide I'm sharing another slide now. Let me make sure you can see the slide. Yeah, I'm sharing another slide now. This slide is about different versions of yourself that you need to be aware of. There are different versions of you that you need to be aware of. Some of us only know about our spiritual version. You've not explored other versions of yourself. For some of us in school, life was just about school and church. So you know about the school version of you, who you are in the classroom and who you are in the church, but you do not know other areas of your life. And these are areas of your life you need to start exploring. I know you might have heard about self-discovery and growth. So for growth to occur, for self-discovery to occur, you need to start asking questions about other versions of yourself. So there are 4 versions of you here. We have the open self. The open self is the version of you that you know, and the version of you that other people know. There's a version of you that people know you are spiritual. People know you go to church. People know you try to do well. People know you are brilliant. And you also know that you are brilliant. This is the open self. Now, 60-70% of people only know about their open self. Their lives revolve around their open self. But I need to be honest with you. There are other versions that you can explore. And growth, self-discovery is about understanding other versions of yourself, other things you could be. So we have another type of that, another version of you called the hidden self. The hidden self is the part of you that you know about, but other people do not know about. There is a version of you that you don't want people to know about. For example, in every saint, there's a villain. Maybe you want people to believe you are a strong child of God, you are prayerful, but honestly, you know within you, you are struggling with lust. That is who you are. You don't need to deny it. Or people think you are humble. You always want to present yourself as if you're humble, but you know within yourself that you are dealing with pride. That is the hidden self. And it is time you stop denying it. That is who you are. That is who you are. There's a saying that in every saint there's a villain, and in every villain there's a saint in him. This is a hidden self. And you need to understand this hidden part of you, because there could be potentials here that need to be explored. And the more you cover it up, the more you may not be able to uncover your potentials. This is the hidden self that you need to explore and discover that I'm capable of doing this. I think I'm capable of doing this. Yeah, probably through our spirituality, we've been able to work on some of them and cut some of them, but there are hidden part of us. There are part of us that are quite ambitious, that are quite part of us that are adventurous, that are part of us that can take risk. There are part of us that can go extra mile. But probably because of your upbringing or because of religion, you try to pipe low on those areas. You need to discover them. Now we have the version of you called the blind self. The blind self is the part of you that other people know about, but you do not know about it. I need to be honest with you. There are some things people will see in you, but you've not seen that about yourself. When Jesus saw Nathanael, he said, "This is a good Israelite. There is nothing evil in him." And the man was like, "Where did you see me? Where do you know me from?" There's a part of you that you are blind to. Some of us are quite brilliant. But because you did not score A or you are not going to make first class, you think you're not brilliant. Your teacher or your lecturers shouldn't be the ones to tell you whether you're brilliant or not. There's a part of you that you do not know about. Your blind self. The blind self, you need to explore that. You need to understand that. And most importantly, you have the unknown self. The unknown self is part of you that you don't even know about and people don't even know about. So growth is about going deeper into discovering yourself. Some of us don't want to go deeper to discover ourselves because we might find what we are not comfortable with. You may find that you have negative part. You may find that you could be unnecessarily angry. Even Jesus, Bible said, when he entered the temple, he was unnecessarily angry. For the first time, he was beating people. He was ready to fight. And they saw a different version of Jesus. So Jesus did not hide himself. And people never believed he could do that. So to grow, you need to go into this journey of self-discovery to understand other versions of yourself. It is when you understand them that you can begin to go on adventure, because life is about adventure. And that's how you can be different. You can only be different when you are willing to explore other versions of yourself. You can only be different when you are willing to explore what other people are not willing to explore in their lives. That is where growth comes in. So whenever you hear about growth and self-discovery, it's about exploring other areas of yourself. Sometimes we think that we need to learn about the external environment for us to grow. But the first way to grow is to start discovering ourselves. Be honest with yourself. What do you want? Be honest with yourself. What makes you happy? Be honest with yourself. What are the strengths in you? What are the weaknesses in you? Be honest with yourself. And one of the ways to grow through this is through feedback. For example, to deal with blind self, you need to go for feedback. There are people you should trust, people, your friends that you ask, tell me the truth. What is it about me that you have discovered that I do not know? How do you see me? Jesus at a point asked the disciples, what do you think I am? What do people say I am? Jesus wanted to know about the blind self. And he asked that question. So one of the ways of expanding or knowing more about your blind self is to ask. To know more about hidden self is to go into meditation, to go into personal questioning. And to know more about unknown self, you may need to go to school. You may need to go to a new environment. You may need to explore new things. You may need to interact with some people. One of my friends saw me one day reading a Quran, and he was like, "Bro, Casey, you're reading a Quran?" And I was like, "Yes." And he said, "I'm disappointed in you. Why are you reading a Quran?" And I said, "Yes, because there's a version of me. There's a version of Christianity I want to know." I was talking with one of my friends also about the extra canonical book, other books that are not in the Bible. Some people call them 7 books of Moses and some other books, but these are other holy books that are not in the Bible. And I was telling him about the life of Abraham that the Bible did not record. And he was like, "Why would you be reading such books?" I told him, "Yes, I don't just want my belief or my truth or my idea to be based on what they told me. Sometimes I want to go into the unknown self. Though there should be caution anyway, but it is part of growth." Okay. So how do we grow to become the kind of persons we want to be? I know you have so much expectations, but the question is, there is need for balance. So I'm going to share with you what is called the life wheel. Can you see the screen, please? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share, we call this the life wheel. Because life is complex. Life is complex. And because it is complex, you need to treat it from that complexity. There are different aspects of life. And these are aspects you should consider when you are growing. Success is not just about getting the kind of career you want. Success is also not about being a millionaire. Success is not only about being on top of your career or being of good health. Success is not just about being in good terms with God. There are different aspects, and you should be able to balance all of them. You should be able to balance all of them. So one of the ways of balancing all of them is this framework called life wheel. Life wheel is about different aspects of lives that must be coordinated. That must be coordinated. Because if you are too spiritual and you are poor, your spirituality is only for a short time. But if you are rich and you are not spiritual, then at the end of life, where would your soul go to? And let's assume that you are spiritual, but you did not take care of your health. It's not even going to last, because you cannot even be useful to yourself, to humanity, and even to God. And let's assume that you have money, you have a great career, but you are not married or you don't have children. At 40, 45, 50, you begin to see the emptiness of money without people that will enjoy that money. Or let's assume that you took time to build your career, you are spiritual, but life for you is boring because you don't go out, you don't have any game, you don't have people you relate with. Then you are not actually developed. And it's important to highlight this because I remember after studying, and the first time I went to US, the first time I went to California, I went for a party. In fact, that was the first time in my life I went to a party. And because when I was in school, I was too spiritual. For me, going to party is a sin. I avoided going to parties. So when I went for this party, people were there. People were easy to mix up with people. And because I've not been to party before, they gave me a glass of drink. And I was like, I'm spiritual. I don't take alcohol. So they poured my own drink for me and I finished it and I sat down. My friend came to me and said, "Why are you sitting down? This is a party. You need to stand." I said, "Okay." So I stood up, I finished my drink. And he came there and laughed at me and said, "No, you don't drink it, you sip it." That was the first time I knew that there's a difference between drinking your wine and sipping it. That you need to sip it and talk with people. So because of my upbringing and my background, my recreational life was zero. Life for me was about school, about church, about the future. And I was lacking in that particular area. And I do not want you to make the mistake I made. There is need for this balance. There is need for this balance. These are different aspects of your lives that must be coordinated. That at every point in time you need to ask yourself, probably during your personal retreat, what about my finance? What plans do I have for it? What about my health? What about my career? What about my family? What about my love life? What about my social life? Sometimes take time and go through your phone and see the kind of friends you have. Are they valuable? Are you proud of them? And then you ask yourself about your recreational life. Do you play tennis? Do you go for swimming? So if what are your hobbies? If you want to relax, so what do you do? Then you talk about your spiritual, you talk about your self-image, you talk about your contribution to humanity. So this is a life wheel. And you need to make sure that all these areas are accommodated. In this example, you see that this particular man that we're analyzing here, he paid so much attention to his career. Look at it. Look at it. He paid so much attention to his career to the detriment of other areas of his life. So he had a great career. And he made so much money. So look at where his career is, look at where his finance is. But he didn't pay much attention to his health. So probably at 40, he had one sickness to deal with. His eyesight is becoming weak. And probably because he sits so much, he sits so much in front of the computer, he now has to use glasses. So his health is no longer strong. For social life is weak because his Saturdays were so busy, so occupied with spiritual activities. The only friends he has are those people in the church. And what about family? Here he doesn't have good relationship with the mom. Probably because he doesn't travel. He doesn't spend time with them. And what about love life? Here he's waiting on God to get married without knowing that you need to prepare yourself and be in the environment to get married. And look at how poor his love life is. And for this kind of people, they are spiritual. So they might even get married. And for them, getting married is basically about having babies and having children and trying to endure and carry their crosses. And look at their recreation. They don't even know anything about recreation. So these people, they will live, they might go to heaven, but they did not live fulfilled life. And we can learn from this. And from this example, this person does not even have any spiritual activity. That's why we call it a lopsided life. Because he paid attention to few things and ignored other things. And I want us to learn from this person. So when we talk about going for personal retreat, like for some of us, once we talk about retreat, you think it's about where we go and discuss about spiritual life, about saying how to pray well. Sometimes you need this kind of thing to ask yourself, what about other areas of life? What about my self-image? Am I confident of myself? Do I like the way I look? I was advising a brother that he should go for mouth washing. I need to go to clinic, let them wash the mouth, let them clean him up. And he was like, bro, so you the one saying this? I said, yes. You need to build your self-image. Because it's part of you. It is part of you. In as much as we deny it, or some of us have fake Christianity that deny this aspect of us, we cannot serve God like angels. We serve God like human beings. We have body, and you need to take care of that body. So we can learn from this person and know that there are other areas of our life we must consider. Okay. Having discussed that, I'm going to focus on the key aspects of these areas. So I'll be talking about mental fitness, I'll be talking about financial fitness, I'll be talking about spiritual fitness, and I'll be talking about health. So the question is, I want you to know that sustainable success takes time. Sustainable success takes time. So when you see people, they buy expensive cars 4 years or 3 years after graduation, do not envy them. If it's going to last, it needs time. In fact, based on research, based on research, it takes for up to 10 years for you to make substantial improvement, for you to make significant improvement. So I'm judging based on 10 years from now, what you need to focus on. So let's assume you are 25. At 35, that's when you begin to see significant success. That's when you begin to actually gauge if you have actually made significant improvement in your life. So let me start with mental fitness. Let me start with mental fitness. Because these are different types of fitness you need. You need to be mentally fit. You need to be physically fit in terms of your health. You need to be spiritually fit. And you also need to be financially fit. Without these levels of fitness, your success may not be complete. Some people are engaging in exercise, fitness activities, but spiritually they are dead. Some people are physically fit, but mentally they are not fit. Some people are financially fit, but they are not spiritually fit. So these are 4 different types of fitness that should be considered for stable and sustainable success. The first one is mental fitness. Mental fitness. I want to tell you about 2 types of slavery. Okay, if you have taken time to study about slavery, you realize that there are 2 types of slave. When black people were taken to US, there were 2 types of slaves that were documented. They have the slave that stays in the house and the slave that stays in the farm. Now, the slave that stays in the farm is burdened with yoke. You are in the farm, you don't have friends around, you have chains around you. Every day you are working. But the slave in the house dresses well. The slave in the house is close to the master. In fact, for them, they don't even think they are slaves. And they even pity those in the farm. Now, the attitude of the slave in the house and the slave in the farm are quite different. For example, the slave in the farm always pray and wish their master dead, while the slave in the house pray that God will save the master because they love the master. For them, they don't think they are slaves. They have food on their table, they wear good clothes, and they feel they are doing well. And there were situations where the slave in the farm will be talking to the slave in the house, we need to run away. And they will be like, no, this is life. You don't need to run away. You need to be happy with where you are. You are comfortable. Without knowing that they are slaves. Do you know that some of us are slaves without knowing? Some of us. Now, someone might say, well, we don't have slavery now. But do you know there are mental slavery? There are religious slaves. Some people are slaves. Some of the teaching they give us in the church end up making us slaves. I remember one of the charismatic group, one day, they invited me to preach to them. And after preaching, they told me it was at a home ministry that they wanted to enter a covenant with God, that if any of them fornicates, the person would contract HIV. That is going to be a covenant they want to have with God. And I looked at them. I was like, are you stupid? Why do you want to put such slavery on yourself? And they were like, they want to be serious. They want God to take them serious. I said, no, I'm not going to lead you into such a covenant. You can call other ministers to do that. In fact, one of the prayer ministry where I was sacked was because they said that ladies should not use any attachment. That attachment came from the marine world, and if you use attachments, you should not belong in the prayer ministry. And I told them I cannot be in that environment. That is slavery. I need to be honest with you. Some of the things they teach us in the church and some of the things we do in the ministry are forms of slavery. And growth is about emancipating yourself from such teachings. The Son of Man came to give us freedom. And he said, don't allow any man to yoke you. So we have spiritual slavery. We also have academic slavery. Some people are slaves to a particular way of doing things. Mentally, this is the way to do it. Mentally, this is the way we should be. So they don't think, whenever you bring issue of thinking outside the box, they feel like, no, it cannot be true. Because for them, life is about, this is the right way to do it. This is the easiest way to do it. We even have financial and career slavery. There are people who are slaves to their career. That it must be this way. This is the way to do it. When I started lecturing in Unizik, I looked around. I looked at the professors. I was like, so after 10, 15 years of working here, this is what I will end up. I looked at them. I look at the kind of cars they drive. I look at the houses they live. I look at how much they are paid. And I ask myself, does it worth it? But you see some people, they are comfortable. You see some people, yeah, they want to be professors. And you look at how much they are earning. And you are like, are they comfortable with this? These are examples of how slaves, they are unnecessarily complacent, unnecessarily comfortable in some areas. Do you know some people, there are some sales girls that are earning 10,000 naira. And they are still comfortable with that, without knowing there are other things they can do to give them 20,000 or 30,000. It is about slavery. And when I looked at those professors, I was like, no, I'm going to be a lecturer, but not this kind of lecturer. And I started working on it. Such that, in fact, 60% of my income was not coming from Unizik, was from other sources. So whether Unizik was on strike or not on strike, it was not even an issue for me. Some people had this idea that it must be this way or it must be this way. And that's what you need to pull yourself out of. To deal with to build mental fitness, to pull out of that slavery, you need to make sure you are not using the wrong sat nav. Because irrespective of your direction, irrespective of your effort, if you have wrong sat nav, you cannot arrive at your destination. When I came to the UK, so I looked around, I saw some people, and typically in the UK, you know where you belong. Indians are into IT, and white people are into office works, and the blacks are into security jobs and healthcare. So the lowest part of the jobs. For example, the way we see the Hausas in let's say in Oka, that if you see an Hausa man, maybe with an expensive shop, you'll be like, no, you cannot be an Hausa man. Because we expect the Hausas to clean our shoes, to fetch water for us. So in the UK, black people are like that, the lowest. And there are kind of jobs you're expected to do, like pick the garbage, the lowest part of jobs. So I was discussing with one of my friends, he has been in the UK for about 12 years. So and he has been in the same job. He was taking care of sick people. He was washing them, cleaning their mess. That was what he has been doing for 12 years. So I was like, is this what you've been doing for 12 years? He said, yes, that's the only thing available. You're a black person. That's what you need to do. And I asked him, how much are you earning? Then he told me it's about £2,000. And that is among those that are earning highest. And I asked myself, if it's about £2,000 a month, then it's not worth it. So I know that is a wrong sat nav. And I couldn't use it in life. I knew it may take me to get another sat nav that would take me to my destination. And I remember a few months ago, I was talking to the same man. I told him, there are people in this country that is earning £10,000. There are people that have moved ahead. I have seen black people in top places. You shouldn't stick to that mentality that you are a black person and that you are limited. And he kept telling me that now he's 45, he doesn't have time again, he's married, he wants to take it easy in life. He has not pulled out of that slavery. I want you to understand, child of God, that some of us have already confined our idea to a particular way of life, to a particular religion, to a particular thing. And that's a wrong sat nav. And for such person, you are not mentally fit. Because you already have your belief made up that if it is not this, then it's not going to work. Some of us believe so much in passion. Some of us believe so much that this is the way to do it. I remember in Nigeria, one of my students, we were talking about other things he could do to make money. So I suggested, what if he established a lawn tennis court where people could come to play lawn tennis? I asked him to go and look for a location. He loved the idea. He got a location where he would do it around the Roma side that time. So I was like, okay, go and make the arrangement. Let's talk about payment. A few days later, he came to me that his pastor said that that born-again children of God shouldn't engage in such business. I was like, are you crazy? What kind of religion is that? He said, yes, that was what his pastor said, and that he couldn't go against what his pastor said. I said, fine, I'm not going to ask you to change, but what I would suggest to you is, why not go to other pastors and ask them their opinion? So he agreed, and he went to ask other pastors. 2 weeks later, he came back and he has asked other pastors, and they felt that there was nothing wrong with it. So he went back to make the payment. Lo and behold, another person has got that particular apartment, and it was a pastor that got that allocation, got that apartment and started that business, that lawn tennis business. So you see, it's just about wrong sat nav. Wrong sat nav. Some of us have this kind of idea that makes growth difficult. It makes growth difficult. Yesterday, a particular sister was talking to me. She called from Nigeria that it's been confirmed from men of God and from her dreams that it was her mother-in-law that is after her, that he has been seeing her in the dream and God has revealed it to her, that she wants me to join her and pray and deal with it. I was like, you are being naive. You are being naive. Satan wants to reduce you so you wouldn't see the big picture again. You start looking for demons. Life is not about demons. There are more to life. And that you saw it in the dream doesn't mean it is the same face. Why do you believe that? And he said, hey, men of God said that. Those men of God do not even have any experience. Some of them do not even have any experience. Like there was one of them that was claiming that in life there's a particular person God wants you to marry, and that you must marry the will of God. It must be that particular person. So in a group, when the man was talking about that, I told the man, no, don't force that on God. God wants you to decide. It is your decision. God doesn't have business of deciding who you will marry. It is who you will marry. And the man said no, that he has for 15 years has been praying for people who will be their life partner, who wouldn't be their life partner. So I now asked the man, tell us how you do the prayer. Tell me exactly how you do the prayer. So he said that what he normally does is after praying, he will write the person's name, the different men coming to her and throw it up. The one that shows up 3 times will be the man. I was like, see how you gamble with people's life. And you said that it is God that told you. So because you are now a graduate, I want you to be mentally fit. It is not every shit that you accept. Whether it came from the pulpit or from men of God or from your celebrities or from influencers, it is not every shit that you accept. Because when you use the wrong sat nav, you may not get to your destination. And also to be mentally fit, avoid staying in survival mode. Let me explain. Some people behave differently when they are in a survival mode. For example, let's assume that you are late to where you are going and it is only one car that will take people to that destination. You will see how people will become animalistic. Everyone will try to scrabble to enter first. So you don't even care about your dignity. You don't even care about your pride. You don't even care if you will enjoy yourself or not. You just want to survive and enter the bus. Survival mode. Some people are like that. Some people just want to survive and get married. I just want to get married. I want to get married. Yes, I want to get married. Survival mode. Some people will be like, I just want to get a job. Yes, let me just get that job. Let me just get it. And they survive and they move into that. If you live life at a survival mode, you wouldn't go far. One of my mentors was saying that if you have a challenger mentality, you cannot be the champion. That the mentality of a champion is different from the mentality of a challenger. That for you to win, you need the champion's mentality. The champion doesn't come to prove any point, but the challenger wants to prove a point. The challenger wants to survive, but the champion doesn't even care. He is relaxed. And that is the mode you need to be to survive. Some of us operate from scarcity mentality, that this is scarce. I need to be the best in my town. I need to be the best in my community. I need to be the best. As if they should be only the best. No. Have the abundance mentality. There's a lot. There's a lot of things to do. There are a lot of things to be. Have that abundance mentality that there are more than one route to where you are going. You want to be a great person. There are different things you can do to become great. Someone was asking me that she wanted to start a master's program so that she would become great. I said, you don't need masters to grow. And that person was like, I need to go abroad so that I will be great. You don't even need it. We have many shit people here. People that even beg. There are people that have been here for 20 years and they can't even eat. So it's not about going abroad. There are people who are living better lives in Nigeria compared to people abroad. Because some will tell you it's about location. But actually, it's not just about location. So don't live life from survival mode. That I just want to survive. I just want to get married. I just want to see how this will work. No. You are still young. Take it easy. Believe in abundance. Learn. Experiment. You must not get it right the first time. What is important is that you are growing. So these are things to do to become mentally fit. To be mentally fit, make sure that at every point in time there is something new you are learning. Question your beliefs. Those things you believed, question them. Question all of them. It's good to tell someone that I have my doubt about this. I have my doubt about this. It's good to have those doubts. It's a sign that you are growing. Some of us think that when you have doubt, it means that God will no longer be happy with you. No, God doesn't want zombies. God wants you to come to the knowledge of the truth. And the truth may not be what they preach from the pulpit. And the truth that stands are those ones that probably with the grace of God you're able to discover. Okay, let me talk about financial fitness. Financial fitness, which is arguably the most important. I want to be honest with you. You need money to live a survival, to be able to live the kind of life you want and achieve your goals, your dreams. You need money. Money is important. Irrespective of what they have told you, you need money. Money increases the potency of all things. And you cannot attract money if you don't like money. Or if you don't like rich people. Or if you always believe that anyone that is rich did something evil to get it. So you all need money. And you need to have good attitude towards money. And you shouldn't believe that you need to sow seed for you to make money. Yeah, God can bless his people, but there are also principles. God doesn't go against principles. In as much as we believe that God can still bless his people, but God wouldn't go against principle. So when you hear about miracle money, it is not true. They shouldn't deceive you. There's nothing like miracle money. And God gives on the capacity to multiply. It's in the Bible. God only gives you based on your capacity to multiply. So whether you are a child of God or you fast, once you can multiply once you cannot multiply what is given to you, more will not be given to you. So to achieve financial fitness, first of all, you need to deal with poor financial decisions. You need to deal with poor financial decisions. I have been advising people on how they handle money, and to be honest with you, I'm not talking about being rich, but being comfortable. You don't need to earn so much to be comfortable. People are stuck because they make poor decisions. Poor decisions. For example, one of them I'm dealing with now, the problem was that Someone told him there's a new investment that can pay you 40%, then you need to go into it. Within 2 months, they will pay you the money. And because he wanted to make money quick, he took not only his money, but borrowed some money and put into it. And now he's into debt. This is someone who is earning 50,000, but he's into debt of 2 million, and which will take him about 4 or 5 years to clear off. Look at how one poor decision landed him in a problem. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to read so many books to be able to be rich. No, but there are things you need to know that I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't do this. For example, some people believe that I can make money quick. I can go to this and it will work. It doesn't work like that. Some of us are poor because we trusted people so much and we believe so much in people. Currently, someone just finished her youth service, and all her savings, she told the mom about all her savings, that I've been able to save this amount of money. And the mom was like, okay, that's fine. Can you give us the money so that we give your elder brother? When you want to do something, then we can collect it back and give to her. And she accepted. And still today, she hasn't seen the money. That is poor decision. That is poor decision. People are poor, not because they don't work hard, but because of poor decisions. And these are things you need to deal with. These are things you need to deal with. Some of us want to play God. You want to solve every problem. You are earning 40,000 naira and you are the one taking care of your mom. You are the one taking care of your dad. You do donations in the church. You pay your tithe. You help people. Shit, you are hurting yourself. That doesn't make you good. I know one of them that borrowed money, took a loan, and paid tithes on the money he borrowed. I was like, are you crazy? He said, yes, you want to make God a partner in what he's doing. I say, no, that is even against God. You pay tithe on what you earn, not on money you borrowed. Poor decisions. Poor decisions. I was in Port Harcourt for a program, and a couple came to me that they heard I have gift of seeing vision, that they want to know actually whether it's the mother-in-law or the stepmom that is after their financial problem. That they work hard, but they don't have any savings. And that men of God have told them that it is the devil, that they have spirit of leakage following them. So they want me to confirm whether it is from their mother-in-law or from the stepmother. I told them, okay, let's start from the physical before we go to the spiritual. I asked the man, how much do you earn? The man was earning 200 at that time, and the wife was earning about 120. I told them, okay. I asked the man, tell me how your typical expenses in a month. I told the woman, write out your typical expenses in a month. And they wrote that out. So we got the money and we subtracted the expenses. So I now told them, tell me the devil that is taking this money away. Is it not your expenses? And they were shocked. I was like, there's no devil, there's no demon affecting your finance. It is your poor decisions. On kerosene alone, look at how much you spend. On eating out, look at how much you spend. So where is the demon? Where is your stepmom in this? Poor decisions. Poor decisions. Some of us want to play God. We want to solve everybody's problem. You need to learn to say no. You need to learn to say no. You need to learn to be tough. And sometimes when they push you in the church and they move you to tears, you need to donate. God is crying. God wants you to support him. God wants you to do this. Sometimes if you are not moved, sit down. Sit down. That money you have is your seed. The 10,000 naira you have is your seed. If you cannot manage it well, it cannot become 20,000. The blessing of God in your life is in that seed. And when you waste it in the name of charity or in the name of helping people or in the name of you don't know tomorrow, more will not come to you. More will not come to you. Deal with poor financial decisions and stop blaming the devil. So you are going to earn money. When you start working, you are going to earn money. Or when you start business, you're going to earn money. What are you going to do with them? How do you manage them? How do you manage them? To be honest with you, do you know that if you can save 20% or let's say 30% of your salary for the first 10 years in your life, then after 15 years, you don't need to work again because the money you have saved and invested can take care of you. Honestly. So being rich, being comfortable is not a big deal. It's just that we keep making poor decisions. To be financially fit, you need to save and you need to start investing early. You need to save and you need to start investing early. So someone was asking me, I'm just earning 20,000. How do I start saving? I say, fine. The first thing to do before you start saving is that the little amount of money you save should be invested in you first, not in buying real estate. If you're earning less than 50,000 naira, you don't need to buy land. What you need first is to invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself and your worth increases and your skill increases, then you'll be able to earn more. And when you earn more, it will be easier for you to start saving. So the first investment is to invest in yourself. I was telling someone what I have invested in myself in the past 3 years. I told the person I invested up to 50 million naira just in training myself. And the person was like, you would have used the money to buy land. I said, no, I've invested in myself. And now I can earn more. Now I can earn higher. Now it's worth it. Now I can go places. Now I can stay where I want, speak with people I want, stay in environment I want, and do the kind of job I want. I'm no longer restricted because I've invested in myself. But you need to start early to invest. If you can start early to invest, then you wouldn't, at 45, you can easily retire. Retirement doesn't mean that you wouldn't work, but you are no longer working for money. You're working because you just want to work or because you feel like you need to work, not because you need to pay bills. So that means you need to increase your earning capacity. You need to increase your earning capacity. You need it. You need it. So if you're working in a sector that doesn't pay you more, why not go into a sector that is paying you more? Why not? The first thing I do once before I go into any sector is I'll ask myself, how much? What is the prospect for me there? What are the opportunities there? So if I know that people in IT are being paid more, I need to go into that particular area. So you need to achieve financial fitness. Then what about spiritual fitness? I think I've talked about it. What about health? Child of God, don't be lazy about your health. Be conscious of your health. And one of the things you need to do is to take time and document what kills people in your lineage. If you discover that someone in your family has died of cancer, you need to be careful. That people in your family have eye problem, you need to be careful. You need to know it. You need to know if people in your family have been diabetic. You need to know. You need to know if high blood pressure is high in your family. You need to know. Because health fitness is quite important. And these are things you should focus on, such that in 10 years from now, you will be able to tell yourself, yes, I'm not yet there, but I think I am moving. So before I conclude, I want you to know that as you leave school, there are so many things you need to do. People will call you to visit. There are so many things you need to do. But I want you to be careful. Before you take any decision or before you focus on a particular thing, use this principle, 20-50-30 rule. If you look at this quadrant now, you will see that there are some activities in your life, they are urgent and they are important. There are some activities in your life, they are urgent, but they are not important. There are people that call you on the phone, they always want you to answer. They feel angry if you do not answer. But if you answer the phone, there's nothing so serious they will talk about. There are some activities in your life, they are not important and they are not urgent, like to watch movie or to follow Chelsea. They are They are like distractions. I'm not saying you shouldn't have your hobby, but you should place them where they are. And there are most important activities in your life. They are important and they are not urgent. So in your life, you need to be able to allocate your time effectively. You need to know what to focus. Experts concluded that if you actually want to achieve significant progress, 20% of your time and attention should be focused on urgent matters. Like this deadline, I want to hit this deadline. I want to do this. I want to do this. I need to wash my clothes. Oh, I need to cook food. 20% of your attention should be focused on that. Now, 50% should be focused on your short-term goals. By short-term goals, we mean what you need to achieve within now and next 3 months. 50% of your time. So the bulk of your time should be focused on your short-term goals. Now, 30% of your time should be focused on your long-term goals. In other words, it is only when you have this kind of structure that you'll be able to plan for the future. And you are not busy doing nothing. Because important things in life do not ring bell when you miss them. They don't have deadlines. Important things in life don't have deadlines. And because they do not have deadlines, some of us forget that we've not done them. And that's why you need to plan for them. Put them as part of your target. And be consistent with how you plan and what you focus your attention on. So finally, I want you to understand, dear friends, that in all this journey, you need trust. People need to trust you. It doesn't matter how great you have been. You need contact. And what the kind of contact you need is dependent on the trust level they have for you. Trust is a currency. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste that currency. Trust is a currency. Let people trust you. Do things that will make people to trust you. It's so important. The next advice I have for you is admire good things. When you see good things, admire them. When you see a brilliant mentor, admire him. When you see something you like, admire it. But it doesn't just end in admiring it. You need to follow it up. You need to follow it up. The evidence that you like something is that you are committed to it, that you are willing to take it extra mile. So do not just admire things in life, follow them up. Next, some of us may not have the required talent. But when you don't have the required talent, there's something you have that can beat talent. Consistency can beat talent. I was telling you about one of my students that is about to conclude her youth service, and currently she has got admission to do a PhD in US, fully funded. And I was like, how did you achieve that? And she says it's about consistency. That for the past 4 months, she has been consistent with checking different websites, and she was busy applying. And she has applied to up to 10 different schools before she was able to get this. So it was about being consistent. Some of us made decision that I'm going to pray on Tuesdays, but you don't keep to it. Some of us decide I'm going to read at night, but you don't keep to them. There are some training programs you started, but you didn't finish them because you're not consistent. So it is not just about talent. It's about consistency. I also want you to know that for whatever destination you want to get to in life, there are more than one route. Some people will tell you, you only need to do this to get married. No, there are other things you can do to still get married. Some can tell you, if you want to get rich, you must own your business. No, it is not true. There are people who do not own businesses, but they're also rich. Some will tell you, you need to be in Lagos for you to succeed. No, it is not true. There are people who are doing well in Oka. And that person will be like, no, you need to travel abroad for you to be in a new environment. Actually, it is not true. There are people that are in London, but London is not even in them. So in life, just know that there are other options. Don't allow people to put you under pressure that it must be this. No. There are usually more than one route to wherever you are going. And finally, before I conclude, I want you to look at this picture. So this is in one of the museums in Belgium, in one of the most popular museums in Belgium. There was this was a painting, and this was prepared by an artist. So in this painting, you will see that this is the devil playing chess with this man. And the devil is already laughing at this man because he felt, I have defeated him, I have conquered him. The name of this picture is called Checkmate. You can check it up online. However, so group of people there's a particular group of people that visited that particular museum, and they came to this particular picture, and the tour guide was explaining to them what this picture mean and why the artist rendered it, provided it. So after going through it, they went to other items in the museum. But one of the people that came to that tour was a global champion for chess, was a chess champion. He was a global champion. So when others left, he stood back to study this picture again. So after about 10 minutes, the group members did not see him. So they came back and they found him also looking at the picture. And they were like, what are you doing here? Why are you looking at it? And the chess champion laughed and said, I was not just looking at the two men, I was looking at the game they were playing. And they said, okay, what is it that you are telling us? And the champion told them, I've been playing chess all my life. But if you look at this game, it means that the king has one more move to make. Yeah, it seems as if the devil has beaten this man to stupor. But this man still have one more move to make. Dear friends, irrespective of where you are coming in life, the king has one more move to make in your life. The king I'm talking about is Jesus. It is not yet over. He has one more move to make in your life. There is something he has not done. The Lord is going to make a move in your life that will surprise people. I was driving my car one day and I came to a police station and they stopped me, and one of the police officers looked at me. He felt I was young and he said, look at these young boys that their parents bought cars for. I looked at him. He said, my father didn't even have a car. And he was like, what do you mean? I told the man that, do you know that when I got my JAMB result and brought it to my parents, that my parents started crying? They were like, why were they crying? I said, because there was no money. There was no money. That was why they were crying. I told him that, do you know that some days in my school, because there's no food, what I will do is that I will take 2 or 3 of my books, the books I've written, so that I can sell it in a bus and be able to raise the money that I will use to pay to go to school and even to pay for feeding. But the king has some moves he has made in my life. And that is the assurance we have as believers, that God is going to make some moves in your life that can surprise anybody. That is the advantage we have. The advantage we have is that grace is speaking for us. The advantage we have is that it is not yet over. The advantage we have is that God has a way of turning things around. You might have met third class. I have seen people that God lifted up. The person I was talking about that got this interview did not even make first class. It was even 2-1 that she got. But see her going for PhD from BSc. Because God remembered her. She was forgotten, but she trusted God. She continued to believe God. And the king made this move. I pray for you right now. Let grace find you. God is still saying something. God is still in the business of lifting his people up. He has not changed. And by the power in his name, may his grace speak for you. May heaven remember you so that the world will tell your story. May he hear us and may he give us reason to celebrate. In Jesus' most wonderful name we have prayed. Amen. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. It's time for question. Can I take few questions? It's time for question. Do you have any question for me? Okay, I think I'll stop sharing this. Okay, do we have any question?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Daddy, can you mute yourself first?
Can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself?
Yes, okay. If there's no other question, I think I will end the session here so that the second speaker will start. Okay, Michelle, you said, can I explain the two types of mental slavery? It was not just about mental slavery. I was giving illustration about the two types of slaves that were used during the slave era. During the slave era, you have slaves that worked in the house and the slaves that work in the farm. And they had different behavior, different attitude, different perspective. So it was not just about types of mental slavery. I'm not a psychologist, so I do not have that information, but I was giving illustration about different ways that people think that two people could be slave and one person will be busy abusing the other person that I'm not a slave, you are the slave. Like what happened between the slave in the house and the slave in the farm. Any other question? All right, that's fine. Thank you, everyone. I know my big sister is here. Hi, Prof. Prof. Rita. So excited to see you here.
Hello, Dr. Casey. Wow, it's good to see you as well. I've kind of been waiting patiently and enjoying your speeches as well. Thanks so much. It's been a blessing.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
It's been a while we spoke last too.
Yeah, we're learning from you. We are following after your steps.
If you're not even ahead, thanks so much.
Thank you. Take over, please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is actually my first time using Telegram. I have actually just decided not to join it, but because of this event, I had to download it. So let's see how it works.